Let's go Dolphins! Something is happening in Miami, and it could change everything for the Dolphins in this crucial offseason. I'm talking about a player with strong ties to the city, a first-round pick, a former Pro Bowler, a tight end with over 4,000 receiving yards. And now, he's officially available on the market. Is this the game-changing move for the Dolphins? Or is it a risky gamble that would set the team back just when they should be moving forward? Rumors surrounding this name are rapidly intensifying, and I have the full story. But before I get into the details, and believe me, you'll want to know, give this a like right now if you're a true Miami Dolphins fan. And leave a comment below saying, "Go Dolphins!" Let's see what the real fans think. Let's analyze this calmly, because what's happening here could completely change the Dolphins' preseason plans. Alright, let's talk facts here. David Njoku has some serious measurables. He stands at 6 feet 4 inches, 246 pounds, and is only 29 years old. He's athletic, experienced, and not far removed from being a top 10 tight end in the NFL. On paper, he might look like a great option for Miami, especially considering the team hasn't had a consistent top-tier threat at tight end in recent years. The raw numbers aren't bad either. He's compiled over 4,000 receiving yards and scored 34 touchdowns across his NFL career. That's no fluke. But here's where things start to get concerning. Despite his name recognition and athletic profile, Njoku is coming off a year where his performance noticeably declined. Sure, some of that could be blamed on the quarterback chaos in Cleveland. He had to deal with a messy rotation of Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders under center. That's far from an ideal situation. But when you dig deeper into the advanced metrics, the picture becomes even more troubling. Among qualifying tight ends, Njoku ranked 39th in yards per route run, 40th in first downs per route run, and 42nd in target separation, creating just about 1 yard of space on his targets. He was also 48th in expected points added, EPA, a key metric in evaluating offensive efficiency. And when you isolate his performance against man coverage, things get worse. He ranks in the bottom 10 of practically every meaningful category. Even his slightly better stats against zone coverage don't bring him into the top 30 tight ends in the NFL. So what does all of this mean for the Dolphins? Well, on one hand, Njoku brings experience, name recognition, and familiarity with the Miami area. On the other hand, he's trending downward statistically, and at age 29, he might already be past his prime. Miami isn't in a position to be handing out generous contracts to declining veterans. The cap space situation is tight, and the team has to be incredibly selective with who gets paid. Let's talk money. Spotrac projects Njoku to command a 2-year, $20 million deal, $10 million per season. That's a significant investment, especially for a team like Miami that's already limited financially. If we're being honest, last year, with a similar cap situation, the Dolphins didn't hand out any single contract worth more than $8 million annually. The largest deal was Mcdaniel's 3-year, $24 million contract. So you're telling me that this year they're suddenly going to throw $10 million a year at a declining tight end? It just doesn't line up with what Miami needs right now. And even if the front office were to stretch the budget for one big signing, would Njoku be the guy? It's a hard sell, especially when there are younger, more dynamic options available in free agency. If the Dolphins really want to get serious about upgrading the tight end position, they should be looking at players like Kyle Pitts, Cade Otton, Chigoziem Okonkwo, or Isaiah Likely. These guys are not only younger, they're trending up, not down. Each of these names brings something different to the table. Pitts has superstar potential. Likely has flashed big-time playmaking ability with Lamar Jackson. Okonkwo is a beast after the catch, and Otton is as reliable as they come. And the kicker? Every one of them is younger than Njoku. So if you're investing long-term, it makes way more sense to go after a 25 or 26-year-old than someone approaching 30. And here's the twist. The very fact that Njoku announced he's leaving Cleveland could be a blessing in disguise for Miami. With him off the table for the Browns, that's one less team competing for the top-tier tight ends. It could open the door for Miami to swoop in and grab one of these younger, high-upside players before another team gets desperate. So in a strange way, Njoku's early announcement may end up helping the Dolphins, just not in the way many expected. This brings me to the final question of the first part of this report. Should the Dolphins risk their limited cap space on a veteran tight end whose production is declining? Or should they turn their attention to one of the younger, more explosive options in free agency, guys who could grow with the team and potentially become a foundational piece of the offense? Because when you step back and look at the bigger picture, this is about more than just one tight end. It's about setting the tone for how the Miami Dolphins build this team moving forward. We've seen this team make splashes in free agency before, chasing veteran names, but the results haven't always justified the price tags. So if we're talking about shelling out $10 million per year for David Njoku, a player whose best football might already be behind him, you really have to wonder, would that move signal progress or desperation? And let's not ignore what kind of offense Mike McDaniel is trying to build here. We've seen how explosive this team can be with the speed on the outside, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, but what's been missing is that reliable, dynamic tight end who can dominate the seams and bail out the quarterback when things break down. And with all the uncertainty at quarterback heading into the 2024 season, that piece becomes even more important. Whether the Dolphins go with Skylar Thompson, make a move for Malik Willis, or draft a rookie QB, the tight end can be a security blanket, a stabilizer, and a mismatch weapon. You want that guy to be on an upward trajectory, not one trending in the wrong direction. Which brings us back to the core 4 free agent tight end targets mentioned earlier: Kyle Pitts, Cade Otton, Chigoziem Okonkwo, and Isaiah Likely. All of them fit the mold of what Miami needs right now. Pitts is still young and unbelievably talented. If Atlanta lets him go or even entertains trade offers, he should be priority number 1. Likely has already flashed in a tough Ravens offense, showing he can produce when it matters. Okonkwo might be the most intriguing of the bunch. His YAC ability is elite, and he's still very raw, which means his best football is ahead. And Otton, he's just solid, not flashy, but extremely reliable, and sometimes that's exactly what you need when trying to stabilize an offense that's been too inconsistent for too long. And here's something else to consider. If the Dolphins were to land one of these guys, they wouldn't just be filling a position, they'd be injecting youth, potential, and upside into an offense that has shown flashes but needs more structure. You're not just signing for production now, you're signing for development and long-term payoff. And in today's NFL, where tight ends like Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and Sam Laporta can tilt the field, having a legitimate weapon at that position is no longer optional. It's essential. Now, some fans are probably thinking, well, we still have Greg Dulcich. Isn't he good enough? Look, Dulcich has potential. We've seen it in spurts, but he's not a true TE1. And if the Dolphins want to elevate this offense and compete deep into January, they need more than just potential. They need a player who can consistently win on third downs, attack the red zone, and force defenses to account for him on every snap. That's not Dulcich, not yet, and maybe not ever. The other big factor? Longevity. If you sign Njoku at 29, you might get 1 or 2 solid years before the decline becomes undeniable. With a guy like Likely or Okonkwo, you're buying into a 4 to 5 year window. That kind of stability matters when you're building around a young quarterback and trying to keep a competitive window open as long as possible. It's the difference between a quick fix and a foundational piece. And look, this isn't to bash Njoku. The guy's had a good career, he's worked hard, and he deserves to get paid. But if we're talking about a strategic, future-focused move for the Dolphins, spending top dollar on a declining player at a non-premium position doesn't make sense, especially when there are better, younger, more affordable options on the table. The truth is, Miami needs to be ruthless in this offseason. The AFC is stacked. You've got elite quarterbacks everywhere. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, even young guys like Stroud are coming. The margin for error is razor thin. Every roster decision matters, and that means putting emotion aside. Just because Njoku played for the Hurricanes doesn't mean he's the right fit for the Dolphins. This isn't college anymore. Nostalgia doesn't win championships. Smart, strategic moves do. So here's the bottom line. Njoku is a good player, and in the right situation, he might still have some juice left. But that situation isn't Miami. Not with the cap situation. Not with the roster construction. Not with the long-term vision of this franchise. The Dolphins have a chance to reshape this team for years to come, and it starts by investing in players who are climbing, not those already over the peak. If you agree, or even if you don't, I want to hear what you think. Should the Dolphins go all in on one of the core 4 tight ends in free agency? Is Kyle Pitts worth a trade? Would you rather target Likely, Okonkwo, or Otton? Or is there another name flying under the radar we should be looking at? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're enjoying this kind of in-depth Dolphins coverage, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap the like, and check out the other videos we've got on the channel right now. We're breaking down every move, every rumor, every potential signing, and trade all offseason long.